All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Psychological Gymnastics. Welcome to Psychological Gymnastics. What we're doing today is talking about ACT, Acceptance and Commitment Therapy. Acceptance and Commitment. Sorry about that echo there. Sorry about that echo. But yeah, so what we want to do is talk about ACT. I went on ChatGPT and pulled up some information. And, this is accurate. I teach groups, I teach classes on ACT. I am certified to perform and teach ACT. I recertify every few years. I've been a mental health professional, I think, for 8 years, 7, 8 years. Been in the field 13 and a half years. I've started inpatient treatment facilities, put the, clinical supervisor, state approved in the state of Washington, mental health professional, currently working as a mental health therapist in a group therapy practice, private practice, connected throughout the state. And so just a brief background, half of a doctorate in forensic psychology, half of a doctorate in marriage and family therapy. My master's degree, I got it about 7 or 8 years ago in forensic psychology. My bachelor's degree is from Central Washington University. It was in interdisciplinary studies, which was psychology, sociology. I got a business administrative management, organizational development minor bachelor's degree at Central Washington University, and my associate's degree was associates in arts and sciences, heavy focus on sociology, psychology, and a few little bit of other ologies. But today, real briefly, we just want to talk about psychological gymnastics. That is the name of the channel, Psychological Gymnastics. And what we're talking about is acceptance and commitment therapy. ACT is designed to help individuals live more meaningful lives by addressing psychological distress in a unique way. From a client's perspective, the core principles of ACT can provide a roadmap for dealing with difficult thoughts and emotions and making decisions that align with personal values. Now, here are the core principles of ACT from a client's perspective. Acceptance is number one. Remember, there are 6 core components. Acceptance in ACT means acknowledging and allowing your thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations to be as they are without trying to change, avoid, or control them. A lot of people think ACT or acceptance in the ACT, the word acceptance means to just accept something and move on and just kind of take it. That's not what acceptance means. So from a client's understanding, it's about learning to let go of the struggle against unwanted emotions or thoughts. Instead of fighting or ignoring these experiences, you make space for them and allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. Recognizes that it's okay to have difficult emotions. So what that means is make space for unpleasant emotions. It's like, you can't control the earth. You can't control the world. We're going to have unpleasant emotions. We're going to have unpleasant emotions, and that's just the way that it is. You'll hear me say this throughout my channel a lot. I talk about the waves, right? Like the earth has, when you're at the ocean, it has waves, right? That's just the way the world is, right? For the ocean to have waves, right? But you can't stop the waves. It's kind of like things that are challenging and emotions and difficult feelings. Like you can't stop these. These things are going to come. You're going to get a girlfriend or a boyfriend. They're going to break your heart. You're going to get your mom's going to fuss at you and you may get put in timeout. You may, commit a crime and go to jail. You may get flipped off and it may really just piss you off while you're in traffic. I mean, just some of these things, somebody will cut you off in the grocery store line, run into the aisle trying to get out before you get your basket up there. Saw you coming and they just triggered you and now you're angry. I mean, you just got to accept that these types of things will happen. It doesn't mean accept it and bow down and, be bullied. It just means accept that these things are you're not going to be able to avoid them or control them. So it's learning to let go of the struggle against unwanted emotions or thoughts. Instead of fighting or ignoring these experiences, you make space for them and allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, recognizing that it's okay to have difficult emotions, right? So when that wave comes, right, you can't fight the wave, right? You'll drown, right? But what you can do is use ACT, and that means you can get on a surfboard. Now, if you get a surfboard, you can ride the wave. You can control the wave, control how you interact with the wave. It's the same thing with ACT, except that the wave is coming, which is the difficult emotion, right? Or the intrusive thoughts. Except that they come. That's not something that you may not ever be able to stop. But what you can do is learn to ride it where it doesn't affect you psychologically, physiologically, or any other kind of way, right? Cognitive Cognitive diffusion involves seeing thoughts for what they are. They're just thoughts, right? Rather than getting caught up in them as if they're facts or truths, right? The truth is not always the reality, right? So, from your understanding as a client, this principle helps you take a step back, see your thoughts from a different perspective. By doing so, you can reduce their power over you and not let them dictate your actions. For example, instead of thinking I'm a failure, you might recognize I'm having a thought that I'm a failure. Now, diffusion, what that does is separates you from the problem. It allows you to observe the problem, right? In your observer self. And that should be later on. That's definitely in ACT. So that means that you externalize the problem, right? The problem's the problem. You're not the problem. The thoughts are the problem, right? Don't internalize the problem and make it seem like you're a failure or something's wrong with you or why is it everything doing you like this, right? Don't go into a low self-esteem state of mind and drag yourself down, right? And become depressed or suicidal. Just understand that this principle helps you take a step back and say, hey, man, you know what? I noticed that I'm feeling like this. I noticed that I'm feeling, these kind of thoughts, these type of ideas are floating through my head, right? That separates it from I'm being like this. I'm having those thoughts. No, I noticed that I'm having those thoughts. Those means like over there, those thoughts, right? And it just allows you to kind of take power back over the thoughts or the situations or the feelings or the unpleasant emotions that you may be having. Being present means focusing on the here and now rather than getting lost in the past regrets or future worries. It's about paying attention to your current experiences with openness and curiosity. Hold on. Rather than getting lost in past regrets or future worries. It's about paying attention to your current experiences with openness and curiosity. Clients understanding. This principle encourages you to engage fully with your life as it is happening. It involves practicing mindfulness, which can help you become more aware of your thoughts, feelings, surroundings without getting overwhelmed by them. Now, what this is doing is causing you to engage with now and not focus on future worry or past regrets, right? Past regrets, here comes depression. Future worry comes anticipatory anxiety, right? You get anxious about the future. You can become depressed and anxious. The trigger is the thought, right? And so internally, you have an internal trigger, external trigger about something outside of yourself, right? And then the reaction is the internal worry, depression, anxiety, sadness, self-loathing, low self-esteem. All those things are things that happen inside of you from something that's outside of you. Self as context. This is the idea that you are more than your thoughts, feelings, or experiences. It's about recognizing that you have a constant, unchanging self that is separate from your from your changing thoughts and emotions. Let's read that again. It's about recognizing that you have a constant, unchanging self that is separate from your changing thoughts and emotions. This helps you see that you're the observer of your experiences, not defined by them. You can acknowledge difficult thoughts and feelings without letting them define who you are, giving you a more stable sense of self. This is the observer self, right? Just pay attention to say it. Look, self of context is the idea that you're more than your thoughts, feeling, or experiencing. So it's saying, okay, because I'm having these thoughts, that's not me. I'm just having these thoughts, right? That's observing what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, what you're going through, right? That's observing. That's the observer self, right? You're able to externalize the thought. If you take your chest and act like you're grabbing something out of your chest and pull it out and you hold your arm. Okay, stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing. Take both hands, put them in front of you, touch your chest, act like you're grabbing something out of it, and pull it out. And then hold your arms out in front of you like a cup, like you have the thing, the thought, the whatever it is. You can externalize and observe whatever it is, the thoughts, the unpleasant feelings, the despair. You can hold that in your hand and externalize it and become the observer and say, hey, man, is this helpful or unhelpful that I'm experiencing this? And now you're starting to question with your observer self lens, the situation that you're currently in. That's being mindful. That's using step 3. You're being now mindful of these things, and it gives you more of a stable sense of self. That's what it says here. Let's go. You can acknowledge difficult thoughts and feelings without letting them define who you are, giving you a more stable sense of self. Values and act are about identifying what's most important in your life, your principles and ideas that guide you, that guide your behavior, your decisions. The principle is about understanding what truly matters to you and what you want your life to stand for. Clarifying your values help you set meaningful goals and make choices that align with your core beliefs, leading to a fulfilling life. I mean, that's pretty simple. Committed action. Committed action involves taking concrete steps guided by your values, even when it's difficult. Committed action involves taking concrete steps guided by your values, even when it's difficult. I tell people all the time, what's your actionable steps? You're complaining about this, you're complaining about that, but what are your actionable steps towards your goals? Proper preparation leads to a better performance. So acceptance, as you see, acceptance at the top is not about just accepting something, but accepting that you're committed to change. You're committing to facilitate a change. You're committed to action. That's why it's acceptance, commitment, therapy, right? Even when it's difficult, it's about committing to actions that lead you towards your goals and values, hence the psychological flexibility. This means setting realistic goals and taking action towards them, measurable goals, right? Despite the challenges or setbacks, right? Despite the waves that are come crashing against you here and there throughout your life. Like, that's not going to matter. It's about being proactive and making choices that reflect your values rather than being driven solely by your emotions and circumstances. Psychological flexibility is the ability to be present, open up to experiences, and take effective action guided by your values. It is the central aim of ACT. This principle involves being adaptable and flexible in how you respond to life's challenges. Boom, once again, the waves, the psychological and physical waves are going to come at you in life regardless whether you want them to or not. Whether you want them to or not. It means being willing to experience these difficult thoughts and feelings by still moving towards what's important to you. It helps you live a more authentic and meaningful life. Once again, psychological flexibility is to be present and be open up to experiences, which once again we said make space for unpleasant thoughts, feelings, emotions, experiences, and take effective action guided by your values. It's the central aim of ACT. This principle involves being adaptable and flexible in how you respond to life's challenges. It means being willing to experience difficult thoughts and feelings while still moving towards what's important to you. It helps you live a more authentic and meaningful life. For clients, these principles offer practical tools for dealing with the difficulties of life. It's that surfboard. It gives you the surfboard. Instead of avoiding or struggling against painful experiences, because when you do that, pain turns to suffering. If you continue to suffer from the same pain over and over and over, you're not willing to be flexible to let it go, then pain turns to suffering. So instead of avoiding or struggling against painful experiences, ACT, ACT, acceptance commitment therapy, encourages embracing them, understanding them, and committed to actions that lead to a more fulfilling, valued driven life. Now, that's what we're talking about, man. We're talking about a more valued driven life. Man, I appreciate y'all, man, for stopping through, man. I really hope that this has been a blessing for you, man. We will continue to rock ACT on this channel, man. We're going to continue to rock ACT on this channel. And with that, I'm going to say peace and blessings to you, man. I hope that psychological flexibility will allow you to have a better life, a better thought life, better patterns of living, and to pick up your self-esteem. And with that, I'm going to say peace.